Now, just a little warning before we begin. Major spoilers ahead for the third episode of Secret Invasion, the episode known as Betrayed. So if you haven't seen it yet, you don't want anything ruined, really good time to click away.
Imagine that. A spy show with an episode called Betrayed.
Imagine that, a spy in a spy show.
What?
It's almost like it's predictable.
Speaking of predictable,
Yeah, you
tell the story.
There were a couple times, actually, I think you predicted things like
One
the
time.
instant. You were like a Jedi. I see things before they happen. I like when she was running away and you're like, there's going to be lights and they're going to shine and she's going to be caught.
Like, look, it's too easy.
And
She's
then-
running away in the darkness, so lights are going to show up right in front of her, and then it was like, blink.
There's the car.
The headlights came on.
It's very predictable.
Sadly predictable.
It's not very exciting either.
No,
It's-
because a spy show needs to be exciting and suspenseful and not predictable.
Yeah, it's just missing something. It's missing that oomph that really makes it
Intrigue?
like... Not even just that, but just... I mean, yeah, it's missing intrigue. But it's just... There's just something about it that it's not grabbing me. It's just... I'm like, okay, I'm watching it and like, yep. Listening to you predict things. It's like, yep.
And then we're always wondering if everyone's a Skrull. Who's really
Yeah.
there, who's not. We
That's
always
almost-
assume that every time we see Nick Fury that he's Nick Fury, but I'm like, well, he might not be.
In a way, that's almost a problem. I mean, it is a problem because you need some level of certainty, right?
He goes to meet up with Talos. Talos is like, hey, I'm like, is it Talos or is it another Skrull?
Yeah, that's...
Especially now that they can steal memories, there's no way to really know.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of saying.
Kind
like,
of annoying.
I think you need a degree of certainty, and our only certainty in the series is that Nick Fury is Nick Fury. But
Maybe.
yeah, he's Nick Fury, but they're just bringing him down a peg. Like, everything he did is because of Talos for the last 30 years. Worked him up the ranks, and it's like, what?
Well, he helped. I don't know if he
Well,
should
that's what he claims, and Fury didn't refute it so much.
be. Because Fury needs his help.
Yeah, I mean, Fury used to be the super spy, right? He's,
Well, now we know he's not. He's just a super...
super Skrull guy. He's not super Skrulls.
Yeah,
I get
that's
confused
not
because
yet.
those exist, but
It's a thing.
he's just the super spy because he's got super Skrull. No, I did it again. Just Skrulls, but you know what I mean.
Skrull spies.
His little birds are just Skrulls all over the world.
My goodness. Speaking of super Skrulls, seeing as that's what you want to talk about, it looks
I
like
really do, I
Gavik's
guess.
already got Extremis.
Yeah,
So he already took his
he's
first
already juiced.
change.
Yep,
Juiced up version number 1.
he's ready to go.
Yeah. Exciting. I'm sad that they're not doing the super Skrulls that we know from the comics, because those were based on the Fantastic Four, which aren't in universe, so I guess
Not
they
yet,
can't use them
but
yet.
they're coming. I think the most disappointing thing is that this is just not Secret Invasion.
Right, because they're like, we need to be super Skrulls so we can deal with superheroes because we'll be super. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, you know what's cool? When you are super now, fighting
Well, it's just
supers.
yeah. There's no. It's always just like Nick Fury going and doing things. With Nick Fury used to always call somebody when he needed. He used to always have a superhero on speed dial, right?
It's almost impossible to believe that he could solve this entire problem without any help.
Well, he's got his Skrulls, but no, he doesn't have.
He's
his
got like
network.
a Skrull.
Yeah, but he doesn't have his network anymore apparently.
You know, just like, it's like, raise your hand if you believe Gaia's really dead.
Oh, come on. There's no chance of that.
Well, we have clips of her in the trailer that haven't been shown.
Well, that could be a Skrull playing
No.
her after she's dead.
This is Gaia's not stupid, obviously, or she wouldn't be leaving these. Well, maybe she is a little.
I mean, she seems
she
stupid.
leaves some obvious clues that they're looking for a spy, so I'll just keep doing what. She kind of
Yep.
makes some worky mistakes. Like,
Yeah.
I'm talking like I'm a spy myself.
Well, you've proven your worth in the last couple reviews, I think.
Yeah, she's making some rookie mistakes here, but I also believe she was smart enough to maybe wear some Kevlar or something on this escape plan.
No.
I mean, it just got shot with like Earth gun, and he like, she turned into a Skrull. I'm not even gonna go and investigate. I'm gonna walk away. Why not?
That's the classic sign that they're still alive. Because when you
don't.
investigate,
You gotta double tap.
I think that's just the problem with a lot of things these days. They use these tropes or these commonly. You just know when they do it. Like the lights coming on, you knew it was going to happen.
Absolutely.
I mean, without doubt, it was going to happen. It's like we need some new tricks.
Like I
we
said-
can't go to the well so often anymore.
She knows that when Skrulls die, they revert back to looking like their natural
Yeah.
selves. So it makes perfect sense that, he shot me. I'll just quick transform back to myself and play possum.
Yeah, and then he'll just
And
leave.
he'll just walk away
He'll
and not
leave
check.
the body there, not check, not anything. Well, must have killed her.
No, it's fine. Just leave it there.
She could have predicted anything.
I liked Talos' plan. I'll just reveal us to the world.
Yeah, I'm with Talos. Just
do it.
Now.
Rip off the Band-Aid. You're just like in some senses they're just like humans.
Like what are humans gonna do? What's humanity gonna do? Like they've been snapped away. They've been invaded by aliens. They've had gods come to them. I mean, at this point, like learning about 1 million human beings were aliens for the last 30 years. Is that really going to be like, oh my god?
It's the part where they learn that these aliens have been doing Invasion of the Body Snatcher and actually taking them.
Yeah,
and stealing the memories.
Okay, so there is a problem with it.
There is a problem because as you saw when the guy was walking through there looking for the code that the Admiral General guy uses, when there's like rows and rows of them, it wasn't just that they took the form of humans and worked their way up through ranks on their own merits. They literally just would snatch people.
Yeah, okay.
And steal their memories.
Okay, so that's a problem. You're right. But it's not the worst thing that's happened.
Yeah, but who do you use the tagline, who do you trust?
Yep.
When you don't know who's a Skrull and who's not. I mean, it looks like Sonya, cool lady, I like her, with Hootie the Owl.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Sonya, that's her
Nick
name.
Fury the
I
Owl.
immediately saw Sonya Blade in my head, but that's not her.
No, it's not at all. I think she's trying to develop something that can sniff them out. I mean, she was doing science,
Doing science.
She's trying to make something that can expose them.
Okay.
Which is the most clever thing to do, and I don't know why Nick Fury hasn't done that years ago.
Cut off a finger.
Well, Nick Fury
because
has access to
he
them as
relies
friends.
on the Skrulls to do anything.
Yes,
and they're
but
not
wouldn't
make
he
the thing
himself
that
want something to kind of hold as leverage against the Skrulls? Because he's kind of that kind of guy.
He is.
I'm your friend, but I've also got leverage against you in case you ever turn on me.
Yeah.
I can expose you
Except for in this
forcibly
case,
at will.
because he gets the leverage through his Skrull network, and they're not going to get the leverage against themselves. Simple.
Well, no, he's going to get it behind their back.
How? He can't do anything without his Skrull network. That was established.
No, he's not totally established. He's got some human connections because he worked his way up the ranks with their help.
Okay.
So he would
Maria
have...
Hill, but she died.
What about the doctor from Avengers 2? The one who was making the body for...
Ultron?
Yeah. She's a scientist.
Sure.
Not to mention, Bruce Banner is a scientist. Why not?
But they don't all trust Fury. They know better.
Well, he was up in space, and he probably had access to things. I'm sure he has a few scientists on the side who could help him.
Scientist. Okay.
I'm just saying, wouldn't you, as Fury, I mean, he's had so many years, you develop a way that at least you could hold as leverage in case the Skrulls turned on you. To say, hey, you guys all turned on us, I can expose you. I can make sure everyone knows what you are.
He's going to be in trouble, too, because he's kind of allowed it to happen.
Nah, he's okay with that. He does what he wants.
All right.
You know that. I know that. It's just a Fury thing. Who didn't get betrayed in this episode? That's the question. I mean,
I don't know.
We've exposed Gaia as a betrayer.
Which we predicted. I mean, that was kind of obvious. Yeah.
His wife, also kind of obvious.
Yeah.
And the fact that you never know who's the Skrull means anyone could betray you at any given point.
Like I was saying before, that's almost a problem.
Even Skrulls disguising as other Skrulls.
I don't. It's one thing when they betray. Oh, surprise, they were a traitor. But when they're playing someone else who you. I don't even know what I'm saying.
It gets really messy.
There it is. It gets messy. It's just so messy because you're like, well, that could be a Skrull, or that could be the real person as a traitor, or it could be, it's just like...
There's a lot of really messy things that could happen with this show.
Yeah.
Like, what if they took over the high politician somewhere, and they're married and have a spouse, and now they've got to perform spousal obligations, wink, wink.
Well, why don't you explain that to us?
No, I'm not going to. And then let's say that one's wife gets pregnant.
Can that happen?
Can that happen? I mean, they copied DNA to try and look just like you. Does that mean that they could have a half Skrull, half human baby?
Would it be? It's like,
or
you actually brought that up at the end with the gun. You're like, are they going to put fingerprints on the gun?
Yeah, the gun.
And then we came up with, well, if you're a Skrull and you turn into a person, do you get their fingerprints?
I mean, they're just looking at somebody and taking on their form. They can't possibly read the genetics that way, can they?
I mean, we don't know how it all works.
We know that they can't read your memories without having your actual body.
Yeah, so if you turn into somebody and you...
Maybe they just don't leave any fingerprints unless they've got the body in their storage lockers so they can actually study it better.
And you do, what did you call it, spouse duties?
Yeah.
So if you do spouse duties and there's a exchange of fluids, shall we say, what are the fluids?
We don't know.
I mean, are they actual real? Could they impregnate somebody? I mean,
could they? Maybe.
We don't know. Questions that
these are the hard hitting questions. Secret Invasion leaves on you. Last time it was questions about their clothes and their transforming, which I still have questions about.
Yes. I don't think we don't have an answer on that.
There's still no answer.
It's funny.
Now I'm curious about spousal duties.
Yeah, I'm more into. That sounded weird when we're talking about spousal duties, but
I don't know how else to put it without getting in trouble.
Yeah, I'm more into the other stuff.
Bow, chicka, bow, bow.
No, I'm not. That's not what I mean.
Scroll, chicka, scroll.
I don't mean that either. I'm more into like the how do scrolls work than I'm into the show itself, and that is a problem.
What if? I'll change my hypotheticals.
Okay.
What if? Okay, let's say a high-ranking official. Let's say with the vice president. Let's use that as an example.
Okay.
We'll say the Skrull took over the vice president.
You're saying the vice president is an alien.
You're saying the vice president
agree with that.
In their world.
Oh, yes, that's what I meant.
I'm talking about in the Marvel Universe, their vice president, not ours, but their vice president is a Skrull. And then they're like, for convenience sake, because it's hard to keep cover, they take his wife, and she is now a Skrull. 2 consenting adult Skrulls.
Okay.
Living as husband and wife, and they have a baby.
Okay.
Because, they've been undercover for a long time. Would the baby get exposed? Because the baby's not going to know how to transform. Not immediately. It's going to come out as a Skrull. Right?
But what if it comes out as a human because they...
How? Well, we don't know.
I mean, it
should come out as a Skrull because they're both Skrulls.
When does the Skrull learn how to transform? Is it like an innate thing? You just
Well, it would have to see someone, so would it try and transform into an adult human looking at its parents?
Is there a size requirement?
Well, we saw some of them shrink and get bigger when they transformed from Gavik and back.
Sometimes like overweight and stuff too.
Yeah.
So how big or how small can you get?
Do they have like a standard weight that even if they make themselves look big, their weight wouldn't change because their mass wouldn't change?
Yeah, how do they increase their mass like that?
Right. Not to mention we saw Gavik turn into a little girl, so he's like a really heavy, like really dense little girl.
sounded very odd.
2.5 times the amount of weight a little girl should be.
That's how you can tell if your child is a Skrull if you have trouble picking them up.
Like, you might be a
Skrull.
You're not human.
It's gonna be a new joke. If you can't do this, you might be a Skrull.
Or can they multiply and like delete? I guess I shall say their genes on will, their mass. Because this seems like really OP stuff.
Yeah.
Very overpowered. I'm sorry, everybody. We're supposed to be talking about the show, but more interesting than the show is talking about Skrull anatomy. Next week, I'll probably find something else really weird to talk about.
Well, I mean,
like what happens when a Skrull that's disguised as a human goes to a barbershop to get a haircut?
Do they though?
Well, what if they get convinced and they're out with their friends, or their little Skrull kid is in kindergarten and their hair gets cut by the little boy behind them?
Can you just modify your appearance? Yeah, I get what you're saying. That would probably lead to
Skrulls don't have hair, so what are they cutting off?
Stop. Just stop. My question is...
Marvel doesn't want me alone in a room with them.
My question is, can you modify your look? Like, if you transform into, say, Fury...
Yes, clearly.
Can you, Fury get his eye back?
I think, yes, clearly they can because they're aging. Ben Mendelsohn's character Talos looked different in Captain Marvel than he does now, and theoretically he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to age.
So you could make yourself...
Neither does Priscilla, Fury's wife. When we saw her in the flashback, she looked younger. Currently, she looks older. So they can clearly modify their age. I don't see why Talos wanted.
Give yourself a nose job or some Botox or something.
Why not?
You can just do that?
I imagine they could.
Okay. Just curious.
I imagine they can make some slight modifications. If they can make their human host look age, why couldn't they do something that simple?
That's simple.
What? Well, aging's a lot harder. Can you imagine they're trying to figure out how to place the wrinkles in the right spots?
Do you think they consciously do that, or is it just kind of like a subconscious process?
I don't know, because we know that Talos hasn't looked... he's shifted back and forth to Skrull and back since, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Since the 90s. So I'm saying, yes, that's something that they probably mentally he has to do. He goes, well, this is how my host body or my shell should look now.
Yeah, maybe a yearly update, and you go in the mirror, and just a little here, a
little
there, take a little off the
subtly aging. That's going to be a lot of work.
It does.
To just do it subtly enough that you're not going from I look like I'm 30 to I look like I'm 50 today. To add the little extra gray in the hair, all those little tiny things you'd have to do.
I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, humans even shrink a little bit. Your spine gets a little more compacted when you get older. After you hit your prime, you start shrinking a little bit in height.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of factors that have to be considered when you're a Skrull and you're keeping that, as they call it, shell for a long period of time.
not easy being green.
Okay, Kermit. I feel like I have to apologize at every Secret Invasion review because I'm reviewing the Skrulls.
Yeah, but if we just talked about the episode, we would have been done in a few 16 minutes ago or so.
Yeah, because it was predictable.
Yeah. And it's just not... It's not super exciting, let's be honest.
It might be when we get the Super Skrull Army.
Yeah,
that's going to be a thing.
I don't know. I'm not feeling it.
I want people to list in the comments your other thoughts about Skrulls.
You mean like other oddities that could be pointed out?
Other oddities about Skrulls. Just talk about Skrulls. Skrulls are cool. What do you think about the random things that we were saying about Skrulls and how they could work?
Don't mention the
two
episode.
Skrulls get together, have a baby, and it's a Skrull and it exposes them? Would it be a human because of their weird DNA shifting stuff that they do? What do you think? Is it a Skrull baby or a human baby?
I mean, I think it's a Skrull baby.
I think it's a Skrull baby, but...
It depends on how deep you become.
Think of how hard that would be if they're like a public official to hide the fact that they have a baby now.
Yeah.
Can she even shift forms if she's pregnant? Would that mess up the baby? Would she have to remain a Skrull the entire time?
Stop. We need to just stop.
Well, if she shapeshifts with a baby, she could, you can't shapeshift into a man or something that's incapable of holding the baby.
Well, you could just be a fat man. Right?
Okay, yeah, that could work as long as she can somehow keep the anatomy on the inside.
Yeah, well, we don't know if there's any change. I don't think there's any changes on the inside, really. Even though you're shrinking, and where do the organs move? Like, if you're talking about your compact girl, like where did all his the dense girl, same kind of deal. Well, like, where did all the organs go? Are they really just compacted in there? Do they have very fluid organs?
Maybe they have very fluid organs.
Or do they just completely
We haven't dissected one
everything?
After it's been dead. Maybe they're biodegradable, and that's why he's not worried about leaving Gaia on the road.
Well, everything's biodegradable, but I mean, people are too in a way.
And how come the clothes didn't shift back?
Well, because
if she shifted back and lost her, like, obviously her conscious control holding her form or whatever they do, wouldn't the clothes also lose that? Why didn't they shift back to the Skrull clothes?
For the same reason...
Thor! Give me the answers!
For the same reason when Luke Skywalker died in The Last Jedi, he took his mechanical hand with him to the other side. Well, because they didn't think of it.
Because it's really cool. Why wouldn't you want to?
Yeah, because they effed up. That's why. Or she effed up because she's playing.
Or it's because she's playing dead. But yeah, we've seen other dead Skrulls.
Yeah. With
their clothes. Staying in the last form they had them in. More questions than answers in Secret Invasion.
I think we're done.
Then wrap us up or I'll keep going.
That's all we got for you this time.
Questions.
Now it's your turn to take to the comments below and either tell us what you thought of this episode or...
Just talk about the Skrulls.
Just tell us what you think about Skrulls and how they work and all of that fun stuff. Whatever the case may be, leave your comment below. Let's talk some Skrulls. And until next time, thanks for watching.
Skrulls!